Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm in my living room, and also I'm going to be probably a little bit annoying today, but I'm bouncing on a yoga ball because it's really comfortable. It's actually more comfortable than the sofa, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm currently in my third trimester, but this video is all about the second trimester. I'm 37 plus 4 days. So this is what it's like now. I'm literally about to pop any day, which I'm really ready for, but that is obviously in another video, and I'll be covering that probably after the baby is born. You can probably tell I've got a bit more puffy and everything like that as well. So today's video is the recap on the second trimester, so we'll get straight into that. And I've just made like some notes on my phone and stuff so that I can kind of go through like how I've been feeling and everything like that. Really enjoyed the second trimester. And like in terms of appearance and everything, you start getting your little bumps. So mine started showing around 15 to 16 weeks is when I literally had the tiniest little bump. And then 17 weeks, it was like, okay, it's actually getting a bit rounder. And that was around Christmas time. So I had a tiny little Christmas bump, which was nice. And at least you can actually like be showing off a little bit more, and you can wear things and not feel like you're just being chubby, whereas at the beginning I did just feel a bit chubby. In terms of movements and stuff, so as this is our first baby, they always say you can feel them a lot later. Apparently you can start feeling at around 16 weeks. I didn't. I started feeling him around the 19-week mark, 19, 20, but I didn't know if that was what I was feeling. But it's really interesting because to me it felt like bubbles. That is the best way to describe how it felt, and it was in my like lower abdomen. Some people say fluttering, but I would actually say like little bubbles popping was how it felt. And I was thinking, oh, is it like just wind or something? But no, it was actually bubbles, which was really cool. And then I was saying to Connor, I think I can feel him, I think I can feel him. But it was hard for Connor to feel that first bit. He felt him in bed at 21 weeks was the first little like pop he sort of felt. Again, it still felt like bubbles really, but they were just more consistent. And like when I was sort of chilling out, that was when I could feel him most. So like at night time, when I was just sort of sitting there with my legs up on the sofa, and it was just like probably like one of the most cool experiences, I think. It's really nice. And yeah, about 24 weeks I felt really like good in myself, my bump, you know, just in terms of appearance and stuff. I could wear like cute little dresses, like I had a night out, not a night out, I had my birthday dinner in February. Pop a little picture here in the dress, and I was like loving it. Oh, I didn't say that the second trimester is from like week 13 to week 28, by the way. In terms of like appointments, so the first thing I had was obviously when I had my 12-week scan, which was actually 13 weeks, even though I didn't know. I kind of touched on that in my last video. They took bloods then, and the results came back that I had a negative blood group, so O negative, which I knew. I did talk about this a bit, which meant I had to go and get a jab at 28 weeks. Anyway, getting ahead of myself because that was 28 weeks. But yeah, we booked a gender scan on week 18, and that was in Swansea. The place was called Window to the Womb, but we wanted just that little experience to be able to get like know the gender and stuff. It's also a health scan, so they do a little check of like the limbs and how everything's growing. That was really fun, that was really cool. It's only a 5-minute scan, I think, but the whole thing gets recorded, not sound, just image. So you can actually buy the recording of them moving around. And yeah, we found out that we were having a boy, which Connor was really happy with. I mean, I'm really happy as well, but I didn't really mind. So I think he was more like, I'd love to have a boy. A very happy moment, and I think Connor was quite relieved as well. Everything was okay, and we could hear his heartbeat for the first time. It was really cool. And they give you a little snippet as well of like a 4D like this 4D video, so they go into it for like 10 seconds or 15 seconds so you can see. But as they're quite small at 18 weeks, it almost looked like, to me, it was like a little baby Voldemort. Nose looked like really like squished in, but that was really cool to see. I can't remember how much the package was. I want to say around the 60 mark, but totally worth it as well. And then you could then buy some prints. I think the prints were included. And then if you wanted to buy extra, and then if you wanted to buy the video, There's loads of things you can get. You can even get the heartbeat put into like a teddy and stuff, but we didn't decide to do that. It's just a slightly more personal experience, you know, they're a bit more excited. It's not like a quick in and out of the hospital. I would highly recommend, if you want a private scan, to get one done for like gender. And they can also write it as well in an envelope for you if you didn't want to find out and do like a gender reveal. Whereas at the hospital, they're not allowed to write that information down on a piece of paper just in case they're wrong. It's like covering their own back. And then 2 weeks after that was so that's 20-week scan. So that's the 2 scans that you have. It's your 12-week and your 20-week. Again, he confirmed it was a boy. I had a male sonographer. Don't know what they're called. Maybe this time around. And that was completely fine. Again, it was quite quick, but you get a little printout of images again. And again, Connor had to wait outside because of COVID, and then he could come into the room when we were actually doing the scan. They had like a side door. You can choose to speak to the midwife after if you want to, but they said it wasn't routine, so I was like, that's fine. And then the next midwife appointment isn't until the 25-week mark. So you don't really see the midwife an awful lot, and that was probably one of the things I was really surprised about, is that you don't really see them very often towards the beginning of your pregnancy. But at that one, that was really nice. She did a listen to the heartbeat on a Doppler. So you go on the bed and they listen for the heartbeat. And the midwife was lovely and said I could record it on my phone so that I could send it to Connor. So that was like a little nice moment, at least something that we forgot on our phone as well. Because obviously we didn't get anything from the gender scan. We never ended up doing a gender reveal. We were thinking about doing a gender reveal, but ended up being too impatient and just wanted to know in the moment if it was a boy or a girl. That was another thing the midwife spoke to me about. So it was kind of past the point of having like the flu vaccine, not COVID, just the winter flu one. I never ended up having it in the end because I was fine. They do recommend like the whooping cough vaccine, so I didn't realise that I had to go out of my way, not go out of my way, it's not like a big deal, but to ring the doctors myself and book that appointment. I didn't know that it was on me to do. I kind of thought it was with them because I knew that the anti-D injection was through them. It's actually a bit sore, that one, in my arm. That was later on. Yeah, I had actually both of them done at similar times. So my 28-week anti-D vaccine came in, so I went to my appointment, and then they said, and they were like, oh, we're doing your 28 bloods as well. I was like, oh, okay. They didn't tell me that you have your bloods taken at 28 weeks as well, which is a bit, ugh. I don't really like needles anyway. I know to like relax my arm and everything, but it's just something about bloods taken is quite, ugh. Yeah, they just basically check your levels. I don't really know what they check for. The anti-D injection as well goes in your leg, and I didn't know that went in your leg. So I just like strip off, which was lovely. And then you also get a 28-week midwife appointment as well. So that was like a few days after, still within the same week. Yeah, so the 28-week appointment is the first time that they measure your tummy for the growth of the baby. So they go up to the top of your uterus and then down to your pelvic bone. And then they listen in again to the baby's heartbeat. And then they also go through your blood work, if there's anything that pops up from your bloods. I'm guessing gestational diabetes maybe comes up around now as well, I'm not sure. I was just told that my iron levels were getting a little bit low. They weren't low enough to be prescribed anything by the doctor, and I was still, well, I still am kind of taking my throughout the pregnancy vitamins. I use the Pregnacare throughout pregnancy multivitamins. I think I kind of missed a couple of days or something, so I wasn't sure if that had maybe affected. And she just said just try and get more iron in my diet. So things like, you know, like red meats and green veggies and things like that, and spinach. And so if you take vitamin C with iron, it helps absorb iron better. It's like a glass of orange juice with whatever you're going to eat. Just been trying to eat like kale and spinach and broccoli and things like that. Not that I've done that well on it, I'm not gonna lie. I think I wanted to be a lot healthier than I have been. Also, the aim was to be able to do a lot of exercise as well, and I've not done a lot of exercise at all. Okay, I'm just gonna hold my hands up and say that. I think I've done like a couple of, you know, you can type in yoga for pregnancy on YouTube. So I get that up on the telly and I do that. But I've probably done that like 3 or 4 times. So yeah, no, I've not been doing it every week or anything like that. But I have still been working. I'm like quite active when I work. I'm on my feet quite a lot, and with the dog grooming and stuff, it's quite strenuous, I suppose. I think that's it for all of the appointments in the second trimester. In terms of how I've been feeling, generally like a bit better, not as tired. And obviously the nausea then sort of slipped away, because honestly you think that you're not going to feel good for the rest of your pregnancy. I still, to this day, still feel a bit sick if I don't wake up and eat something quite quickly, but I can manage a little longer, whereas obviously in the first trimester I was like, I had to eat something before I even got out of bed or I'd feel sick. Actually, in terms of cravings, I can eat chicken again, which is great, yay! I really liked milkshakes, specifically McDonald's milkshakes and McFlurries, just like cold ice cream stuff. Pretty much every time we go past it, I'm like, should we get a McFlurry or a milkshake? And Connor's like, we'll go. I've also been eating a lot of, you know, like the knockoff Crave cereal. Really been liking that. I've never really been into eating cereal in the morning either, so obviously I've had a bit more of maybe a sweet tooth. And normally I love like savoury, like crisps and dip. I still really like crisps and dip, but yeah, it's just that something about having a milkshake. Or also when you have something quite cold, the baby kind of reacts to it as well, so you can feel them move, and that's quite nice. Maybe that's why I do it, I don't know. I was having quite a lot of strange dreams in and around like the 24-week mark, and having like getting up early in the morning and not really being able to get back to sleep seems to be quite frequent. Probably just getting used to like body growing and stuff, and you realise, oh, you can't really lie like that, or your back starts hurting a little bit more. And also didn't realise that like from, I don't know how early on, I logged it at 24 weeks, but it was saying, I said that getting more uncomfortable now and baby protrudes out of me sometimes, and I thought it was just like his bum sticking out of me or something, but the tummy goes like quite hard, and I was like, that's really weird feeling, like why does he do that? Turns out that's been Braxton Hicks the entire time, so I've been having Braxton Hicks for like months. I didn't even know. But they can start in the second trimester, so it's nothing to worry about. I was also having a lot of like vivid dreams about going into labour early, like having a premature baby and stuff like that at around the 24-week mark. I don't know, maybe something I was slightly paranoid about, but we're past that now and the baby is still in my stomach, so it's all good. Also at 24 weeks was kind of when I started feeling SPD. What is it? Symphysis pubis dysfunction? Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. Not every woman gets it in pregnancy. There's a hormone in your body called relaxin, and it helps quite literally relax the muscles in your pelvis, so that it is more flexible for the baby to come out later in labour. And that can cause pain when you move and stuff, and that was when I started getting that pain. So when I was like parting my legs or trying to turn over in bed, that's when I kind of felt almost like a shooting pain slash like ache. So I was starting to realise that that was hurting a bit. So I did bring it up with the midwife as well at appointments, and she just said about, you know, certain things like getting out of the car with your legs together and trying to turn over in bed with your legs together, not crossing over too much or anything like that. There is a few exercises you can do, stretching out helps. She also recommended a pregnancy band. You can get an SPD band. I've not really got on with it very well though. I did get one. You like strap it around you, but I kept feeling like I was restricting myself. I think it's all right if you're walking around for a bit, But I don't know, I felt like it was bringing on Braxton Hicks when I put it on, so I didn't really like that. I do make this sound so glorious, don't I? There's so many things that your body goes through. It is really amazing, but there is a lot of things that like you don't know that's gonna happen. I mean, I was lightheaded quite a lot if I'd go to work, and within the first couple of hours I'd be a bit lightheaded, like I'd have to sit down, just because your blood pressure drops, or like sugar levels or something. So I just made sure that I had snacks on me and enough fluids and things like that. So another thing that helps with Braxton Hicks is if they can come more frequently if you're dehydrated. So I've tried to drink more water as well. I did have my first bout of like acid reflux. You know, people talk about the heartburn a lot. Was hoping that I wasn't going to get any, but I did have a little bit, and that was the end. That was around the 26th week mark. We had a tiny little scare when I was 27 weeks. I was having like dull period pain, but it was constant. It wasn't like I was contracting up and down, but I'd not felt that before. So I didn't know if it was maybe normal because your body's changing, that you just feel a little bit crampy or what. I think it was like 9 o'clock at night. So I called the triage system at the nearest hospital, and they said, like, you know, if I want to come in and get checked, that's absolutely fine, just in case I am like contracting or something. It was totally up to me, but they couldn't actually tell me if it was a normal symptom because everyone's bodies were different. So it was kind of making me second guess myself, and I was like, I'm sure I'm fine. I didn't know how to react to it because I hadn't really felt it before, and it wasn't unbearable pain, it was just there, and it was like niggly. So I ended up saying, like, well, I'll try and sleep through, see if everything's okay, and if it's still there in the morning, then maybe I'll go in. Well, so I woke up and realised, yeah, the pain is still there, so we'll see. So I rang in, and they just check with, they put the 2 bands on you, like if you're actually going into labour. One to check your baby's heartbeat and one to check if you're actually having contractions. So they just strap that on, and they do like a 20-minute, can't remember what it's called, an ESG, ECG, something G, where they just check. And then they also tell you to try and track if the baby's moving. So every time baby moves, you have to click a button, and he is very, very active. Anytime I would sit down, pretty much, he would be like moving around. Turned out nothing was wrong. The pain I was probably having was, apparently the doctor spoke to me and said it was probably linked to SPD, so the pelvis pain I was having, and the fact that your body's just changing and trying to prepare yourself for labour, even that early on. Oh well, but yeah, everything was fine. I was on track as well when they measured my tummy at the 28-week scan. I was measuring 28 centimetres for 28 weeks. I think that's how they used to like track it. It was if you're a similar centimetres to your weeks. It's not so much like that now, but it was like just above the 50th percentile, so maybe like the 60th percentile. That's what they call it. So kind of a normal sized baby is what they were sort of predicting. I'll touch on 3rd trimester when the baby's born, so I can have like an overview of everything I've been feeling. Yeah guys, I hope this was interesting. It's just my personal experience about what's been going on in the 2nd trimester. Definitely think it's the favourite trimester. You find out what gender you're having, how you feel is pretty good, your bumps showing. I think, yeah, you feel pretty good in yourself. Here's to the new chapter of when the baby is actually here. So maybe the next video is when baby's here, which is crazy. I can't believe it. But yeah, we've got his name like sorted, I think, but I'm not gonna share that yet until when he's here. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you are pregnant, how many weeks along you are, and how you've been feeling. And I will catch you with the next video, guys, okay?